So yesterday, a friend, shall we say, just came over, without mentioning names, for help with an assignment.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, can you please help me write it? You know, it's quite an extensive assignment. It's like a heavy word count. I don't even know where to begin. It's like 500 marks. So slap the file down. She's like, can you help me? I was like, I have no clue what this is.
Okay.
How am I meant to help you? So instead of trying to help write the assignment, I was like, why don't we just figure out how we can get you to write the assignment? And her whole thing was she was looking at a 500 mark assignment as a folder.
And trying to start everywhere at once.
Her mind is just all over the show.
Yeah.
So when there was too much, it was like, I can't start. Where do I start? I'll never be able to. And I just said, look, just structure it, break it down, take it by sections. The minute you do that, you pass one off. Now you got a clear mind, you go to the next one.
Yeah.
It's all about starting.
Yeah. It was difficult for her to kind of get started because she was just looking at the end goal there of what
that's all
she
it
had to
was.
achieve.
It's just begin.
Yeah.
Like just take the first step.
Yeah. You
And
can.
like everyone does say this shit, but like we've got real life examples. We've got experience.
It's like 90% of winning, and I know that's a joke, is starting though. You literally cannot win if you don't start.
I know, for sure.
But not just like don't just wait for that one idea to start. Like my whole life has just been like everything I've thought of, I know what is a good idea. And everyone always like, they have an idea. Like everyone has an app idea. Like everyone has one. But like not everyone says like, they take the first step. Like they don't chat to the first person about it. Or like they might chat to them when they're drunk at a bar or whatever. But like for me, when I was in Oz, I phoned Jace and I was like, I got this idea. And the next morning I woke up, I had like a 25-page business plan in my emails. And I was in Oz. So like it was my next morning, which means he wrote it like 5 hours before bed. You know what I mean?
But now let's say starting a business, for example, or someone wanted to start any sort of venture. What if because I'm just going to play devil's advocate during this thing. Let's say they say, I don't have the money to start. Okay, now, although I feel I know the answer to this question, what would you say to that if they say, well, I don't have the money to start? Because for a lot of people, that is the problem.
It's
they don't have the
network,
funding.
Bro.
Okay.
Like a lot of my skills and my talents, right, don't match like Jason's work ethic when it comes to like learning code. Like he learned code in a couple months, what people, like the same thing people have degrees for. You know what I mean? He's got their level of coding and you'll say no, but I mean, he could code an app, which is crazy. And like for me, I don't have that skill. I can't sit at a computer for 12 hours a day, but I had capital to like match him, and my work ethic with networking matches his. So like all of like his talents don't require money, none of it. He just sits at a computer and he can learn code.
Do you feel that the people around you have played a valuable part in anything that you've wanted to do?
But that's because like I invested in my friends from a young age. And like if you know who to cut out right off the bat, like you're 18 years old and one friend is just pulling you down and there's no positivity coming out of that relationship, just learn when to like just cut ties and just keep around. And what I've learned is the bigger your group gets of people that have the same goals, the quicker it grows. Like the way it exponentially just gets bigger. Like you have one friend who talks to another person when they're out at a bar and that person's like, shit, this person has their head screwed on straight, but that's not you, it's your friend. Now that friend knows your friend and now you've just, it exponentially grows. And now my network, because of like choosing the right people from a young age, you can pretty much get anything done. You have an idea, you might not have the money, you might not have the skills even, but you know how to network. It gets the job done.
And how would you say, because for a lot of people, it is difficult to kind of move out of the friendships that you feel are hindering your potential, you know? And it's because it's sometimes comfortable to sit in that position. So what do you say to people who want to, you know, move away from the friends that they feel?
You just say no.
You just say no.
Yeah.
You have to. It's a binary choice.
But it starts like this. They all have different hobbies because they're negative and different habits because they're negative. And if you say no to them because they're negative, you slowly start drifting apart because they don't want to do the things that are positive. Otherwise, they would be a good friend. You know what I mean? So if you say no, hey, I don't want to go to that bar on Friday because I know it's wrong, then slowly they're not going to, if they do choose to start reading books and like saying no to things, then they're going to be closer mates. So
it's either make new friends, the right friends, or be comfortable being lonely because sitting in that position is really not. But I know a lot of people go through it.
Yeah, I was watching something and it was, I don't know, one of these CEO guys, you know, typical motivational speakers. And he said, one thing he's learned in life is that you can't pull people up that don't want to be pulled up. And so if you try with your
Take
friend
a
group,
horse to water. You didn't want to say it. It's like, how do I say this without saying it?
no, but the point is, like, if you are influencing your friends and you trying to pull them up, if they don't want to, they won't. And so they'll stagnate. But as long as you keep pulling, eventually they'll get uncomfortable and they'll also move away. So you don't have to cut them off. Your growth will cut them off.
Very
and
true.
if they do want to come along for the ride, they're going for the wildest ride of their life.
Yeah.
Like, and that's their choice. So it's not about you choosing to cut them off. You just stay true to yourself and don't let them pull you down. And in doing so, that makes the choice all that much easier. They'll make it for you.
Yeah.
And then it's not your fault.
Yeah,
You're just trying to progress.
The name of this podcast is so relevant for this episode because when Mark phoned me and he was like, bro, Hoopla, this is the name. It's going to be Hoopla. And I was like, bro, that's so relevant because I've always said my whole life, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And he was like, bro, that
How many
just makes
captions
so
did you
much sense.
Deep.
You can imagine walking into he had under
You should
his
be a motivational speaker.
live, love, laugh sign. He had that printed on his bedroom. That's how he got to where he is.
Oh shit.
But it is what it is in terms of starting. Like, as you say, you know, people
It's a
that don't,
binary choice.
but people don't have. You say they don't have the money to start a business. Okay, I'm not going to talk about people that are in abject poverty. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
You're trying to put any food on the table. But people that have limited capital, they might look at it like,
If you have a 9 to 5, you're stuck in something that you either know you could do for the rest of your life or you know you can't. And then you're deciding with that money that you have slightly spare to go drink or to this, you are deciding whether that makes you unhappy enough to put that towards something that's going to make you happy in the future. Or if you're happy enough to just feel sad during the week and then just spend it on drinking and just be mediocre for the rest of your life.
Unfortunately, people with that spare cash that they have, they want to rather fill the void now and feel something now instead of
short
wait
term,
it out. Yeah, that's it. It's short-term thing.
But that's 90% of 99% of people.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's why it is difficult for people to find a group of friends that are conducive to their vision. You know?
But
Is that the right
honestly, like being in South Africa, you don't realize how much easier it is to start a business. Not just like how easy, like the barrier to entry. Like you're surrounded by people that have to decide if they're going to be an accountant for the rest of their life. And even the friends you do have that want to be an accountant, their end goal is to start a business in South Africa. But you go to a first world country, like my experience is, because you're there, like you're earning nice money. And now you're earning, let's say I worked at a little cafe, $31 an hour. Like you have to decide whether you can sell a product that's worth $31 every hour, right? That's profit you're going to make.
Yeah.
That's got to push you over the edge. And like for you to say like, I'm earning $31 an hour, but do I go invest all this money that I could put towards a house, right? That's security forever, into a business that may or may not make me $31 an hour. Whereas in South Africa, you have this literally like you're earning 10 grand a month, right? Or you start a business for like, you save 2 grand a month for a year, you got 24 grand. And now you can put 24 grand towards a business that you literally just have to sell like 10 products at 1,000 rand a year and like, I mean, a month, and you're making like your salary.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier here to make the decision.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of people around you that are on the edge of making that decision. Whereas there you don't. Like people are so astonished. You started a business. I'm like 24 years old. Like in South Africa, if you haven't started a business at 24, you're going to be working a job for the rest. You know what I mean?
It's either it's in your blood, I feel, or it's not. But there can be things in life that can trigger it. I mean, again, it's opportunity and sometimes it's mindset, you know?
But sometimes that fall, like when someone hits rock bottom, that's the trigger.
Yeah.
And in South Africa, you hit that a lot
Yeah.
easier than over there.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of people who've had that trigger.
Yeah.
That's one of the triggers. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like your friends are all going jawling and you're not
Yeah.
because you don't have money. That's a quick one. But over there, it's like I'll just work an extra shift and I can go jawling. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
So
I think also looking at the small steps and writing down, you know, the step-by-step process, when you're trying to look at this huge vision as a whole, it can be so daunting to go for it. And so I think it's always so important to always look at those little goals and set those little goals.
It's just that first step. Like every idea we've had, like someone's phoned the other and it's turned into a thing. Like a website is made in a day. You know what I mean? It takes a day.
Yeah.
Like you are proof of that.
Yeah.
Like Josh, literally, I come up with an idea and there's a website in a day.
Yeah.
Or like the app is made in
Yeah.
12 months. That's not a day.
Not quite the same. But the thing is,
But
Also,
you get started.
once you have started,
Yeah.
then you know if this is what you want. So, for example, we also had another friend of ours, or a friend of Mark's, who was interested in doing something that was different to what he was currently doing. In terms of he wanted to write programs and get his expertise out there. And he said to Mark, I don't have time. I'm so busy. I've got this going, I've got that going, and I need to still spend time with my family. I can't do it. It's too big. And I said, Mark, just tell him, when you get home after work, just sit there and write for 5 minutes, even if it's 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, you'll know. Because if you sit there and you're like, I can't wait to get this done, then you know it's for you.
Yeah.
And that small step, once you've started,
Then
you
start
can't stop.
choosing that over Netflix.
Yeah.
Then it's you don't even know that you like it until that moment where it's you put on the TV. I only had it in my life, 24 years old. I only had that moment where you put on the TV and you sit there and you I could be doing something better. I could.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it's numb the pain. And then you find that thing that's it doesn't even have to make you money yet.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, it's
just that
if you have
you
a
with
passion for
music.
it.
You with music. Sometimes it's 2 a.m. and I see you've last been online and you've been in the studio since 2 and you are knackered. But there's nothing you'd rather do, and you'll do it again the next day and again the next day.
But that's why I feel
alone.
Passion for what it is you're doing is such a huge, crucial player, because
yeah.
if you do not love and obsess over what it is, you are not going to work until 2 a.m. You're not going to put in those
100%.
extra hours, and then it's not going to come into
But
fruition.
also, a dream or a vision that has no steps taken towards it, you don't know if it's your passion yet, because it's an idea.
Yeah.
Ideas are lovely. Everyone has the best ideas. If you could make what's in your head, you're living the greatest life.
I've heard a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
And you don't, we the type of people who, if it's not my idea, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You can come to me with the best fucking idea in the world that can make me millions, but I never had it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I want to see it happen, but I didn't have it. I won't feel happy doing it. And you just sit there and you're waiting for it to happen, and it never happens.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to take that first step. Because also another thing is, once you take that first step, you know that if it doesn't work, you failed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are scared of that. And a lot of people don't see, I've started 20 businesses that have bankrupted me. I've had zero again, you know what I mean? And I've failed. I've only had 2 that have worked.
But you are comfortable with failing.
Yeah.
You will, there was
It's
a saying,
enjoyable.
fail your way to success, and it is so true.
But we use the word fail, but it is just learning.
Yeah.
And the thing
100%.
is, you've got to learn the lessons whether you want to or not. It's just about when you learn them and how you learn them. So in terms of taking that first step, as we said, it can be failure or it can be lessons, right? And for us, I think the most valuable thing we can offer is that we're on the journey. If you try and ask someone that's already at the top, it's so difficult for them to look back at their entire path and think of all the small things, all the small emotions, all the small decisions that got them there, because they are so far ahead. And it is valuable to ask them, what did you guys do? But it's so interesting to ask people that are on the journey. There's so many more lessons to be learned on the journey than there are to be learned from the top of the hill.
Definitely.
If they look back, how often do you look back at something that you found difficult, right? And you just say, oh, you just do this.
Yeah.
When someone's or you're trying to even learn something on your computer, and they're oh, you just do this. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? It does seem simple once you're through it.
Yeah.
But while you're going through it, it's so much more easy to comprehend with someone often I learned better from someone at uni that was on my level, that had just learned something, rather than a tutor. A tutor I learned nothing from, because they were getting 99%. They didn't understand what I was going through.
Yeah.
As soon as I got someone who just clicked, they just got a certain topic, they taught me, I would get it straight away.
Yeah.
Or I was able to teach someone something better when I just learned it. You know what I mean? Then it's so much easier.
Yeah, that's why I think people should vlog and document their process of everything that they're doing on their journey, because I would rather watch a YouTube video of somebody going through the process of creating a hit song than just listening to a hit song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Listening to a hit song, it might inspire you, but watching someone go through that process is going to teach you a lot more.
Yeah.
So I think people should definitely vlog and document their process.
One of the main examples you always hear from people that are either entrepreneurs or musicians or things is that it gets lonely at times. And you think, what are you on about? Look how much fame you have. Look at all the people around you. It doesn't make sense to everyone else. But if you get someone that's still on the journey and they say, look, I've had to say no to these plans and these plans. I've had to pull away from that and I've got to
Then you
spend
understand.
hours. You're
Then you understand.
Yeah.
That's the loneliness they're referring to.
Yeah.
It's not now. They're trying to say like along the way, all the no's that they had to say, all the sacrifices they had to make. But you don't see it when they're rolling around in Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
You
That's why, like, no one wants to see, or anybody wanting to achieve something, they don't want to see someone who's already made it. They want to see someone who's going through.
Yeah.
It's relatable to them. It
No,
makes them feel
is.
comfortable.
It's
Yeah.
super relative, bro. This is kind of contradicting what we're saying, but Shoe Dog, like that book about Nike, like he really, like, you think your little problems that you're having every day, like you got like a court case and like you got someone trying to sue you for this, and like you think it's huge and you're stressing and all of this, and then you see what he went through, like from the same age as you, and like he's in debt for like $20 million when he's 30 years old, but he's making money. I mean, not really, not on paper, but like he's got people wanting his product.
Yeah.
And like you see what he went through to get there. He only started actually making a profit like 40 years in, you know what I mean? I'm exaggerating, but it's a long time.
Yeah.
And like he just, when you see that, you always want like instant gratification. I often give up if I don't see profit. I mean, we started a business, we made a really good amount of money, but it wasn't what we aimed for.
Yeah.
And in the first month, and then we were like, this isn't good enough. And we just dropped the business, bro. And it was making profit.
But reading about that, the guy who created Nike, I mean, that must have been super insightful, because it also gives you such a perspective on your problems compared to the problems that, you know, you
they've
can
got
face.
$1 million on their plate.
Yeah.
They've got $1 million. We only just starting. We've got like a few, but it prepares you for what's to come. You know what I mean? And it shows you like how bad you got to want it to get there, and how much it does take to get there. You think your little problems are like preventing you from getting there. That's how you feel in the moment. It's like it's preventing you from getting to your end goal, but it's not. Like you're gonna get a whole lot more before you get to your end goal, and that's what you got to come to terms with.
And celebrate the small wins. I think it's so important, you know. But when you have this huge vision and you're doing all the steps to get there, you forget to celebrate the small wins.
You do,
you know, and you
it
have
seems
to.
like the problems overpower the wins.
I feel like if you don't get a sense of success, or little steps of success along the way, the passion will die out.
It is.
You know,
that's when the motivation does die out.
Yeah.
Jason gets that often.
I have it. Where you don't see returns, you're working incredibly hard and you see nothing back, and you think like, is it all worth it? But that's also the perseverance that you got to come through. And that's what you learn from people that are also on the same journey as you, not the people that have made it. You don't look at the picture too broadly.
I remember
You keep on expecting and then getting let down. Keep on expecting. Like our launch was supposed to be October last year, and like we had been working for like 9 months, and we really prepped ourselves, and like that was during lockdown. You know what I mean? Like we expected it. We even like, okay, lockdown happened, and like now it's been like 18 months, and Jason's still sitting at a computer coding with no return, and we don't know when that return's coming, and yet the work still has to go in, and you don't even. We could launch and it fails, and you know you've put in 2 years of your life into something that you could have known 6 months in if it could have worked, but you've like dedicated 2 years now, and like it's even more of a letdown if it didn't work.
I remember asking Jace the one night. I said to him, "How do you deal with the patience, knowing where your potential lies, and having to deal with the work now? You know, like because you know where your potential lies, and there's obviously just certain steps that you're gonna have to take to get there. But I mean, how do you deal with that psychology of it? You know."
I think I was actually, before you arrived today, Mike and I were chatting about this. So when I was much younger, I was not structured. I was not dedicated. I used to sleep in. I was lazy. I was messy.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe this.
I literally can't picture it, bro.
People will attest to it that know me from
He's never missed a damn gym in his life. Like, ever.
I wasn't there. And I said to Mike, like, I never fully understood why it switched like that. Like I got out of school and suddenly it flipped. And I said, I think it was that daunting potential looming over me that put me in a bad place. I was like, if I try and step up to it, I could fail.
Like he had so much expectation from others.
Yeah, well, not
like
even from others, from myself. If you start, like you could fail. Your
parents always said, like you had so much and you were just lazy and this. And you knew if you weren't lazy, it means you were putting in effort to try like live up to those expectations, and there was people to let down.
Yeah, it's easier to say like, oh, I don't give a shit, and then everyone's like, well, that guy just doesn't give a shit. It's not that he's stupid or he can't do something, it's just that he doesn't care. And like that's easier to deal with than being an idiot or
you
failing.
can go your whole life thinking
easily.
like that.
And so for me, it was just a turning point of what's more scary, never reaching my full potential or never trying to. And I think never reaching it was more of a fear
Scared
for
you
me.
more.
And so I was like, it's time to boot up, you know?
Yeah.
Let's try and get something going. Let's try and make something happen, because
Yeah.
my whole mindset is at some point in time, I want to be in a place and I don't want people to look at me and go, how did he get there? Like, why does he have it and I don't?
Yeah.
They can say like,
And
he
like,
worked, I watched him.
I know
That's
for
why he's
you,
there.
it's not about the money.
No. It's
No,
not.
definitely
It's
not.
and with both of you, it's never about the money. 'Cause
never.
you'll plow money into an idea regardless, you know, just because you know you have to.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that's also such
That's what we want to do. Is
Yeah.
know you gave it your all. Just put everything you got into it, and like what comes out of it
Yeah.
not the money either.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not it.
I think-
You've built something out of huge risk.
Yeah.
That's the reward.
Mm.
Is like that succeeded out of you
Yeah.
giving up everything.
Mm.
You know what
I
I
was
mean?
once listening to this audio, and like you said, like that might have triggered you. For me, it was, I was like, when I was young, I was like, I've got to be successful. I want to be successful. And then when I had to ask that question, like, well, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be successful? You know? And someone said to me, like, it's not about the money. Like, it's like life isn't about the money. And then, but life is also not about like struggling to put food on the table.
Not at
you know,
all.
life's
Yeah.
not about struggling to pay rent and worrying
Freedom
about that
is
shit.
money.
Yeah.
But that freedom is for me and Jason, you, is the freedom to come up with more ideas more
yeah.
easily.
And put them into fruition, really. Yeah, that's
and that
gets us
requires
going.
money again.
Yeah.
You can't get a PA without money, and that helps get your goals even faster.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Oh,
It is one of those things though, and there is utility to money, obviously. It does provide you value, you know, as you say, but there's also diminishing returns. There comes a point where you've got what you want. The numbers growing in the bank don't mean anything more by that point.
Exactly.
You've got everything you need. So then what are you living for? What are you still working towards?
but that's we've talked about this before. That's where the whole like a lot of people say like you see a lot of stars say like, oh, I got everything I wanted and I felt empty inside. And that's where for us, I feel there'll never be that emptiness because our goal isn't monetary.
Yeah.
It's to change the world, and you can never be satisfied changing the world. There's no I've changed the world, I'm done.
Yeah.
The
There's
world
never enough.
always needs change. You know what I
100%,
mean?
especially now.
It's suffering. So like you can never say I cured world hunger, like I'm done. Even if you did cure world hunger, you got to move on to the next thing.
That's so true, because I've often thought to myself, like there's nights where I'll get into bed and I'll be like, shit, like Mike and I, we really went at this idea, and like this one isn't paying off. And like there's never a time where we sit back and we just say, well, we're never going to do it again.
Yeah.
We always back in it.
Oh,
moving
straight away.
Straight away.
The next day.
Because
it's the
that
next
is the
idea.
goal, you know,
yeah.
just to get it going. There's
Yeah.
never a final result for us and we're happy.
Never.
you know?
Can't
Yeah,
be
you
like,
can
oh,
never
we're
be
making
satisfied,
50
I
grand a
think.
month, I'm done.
That's the thing. And it's also, that's about setting your goals quite far ahead as well, because if they're so attainable and it's something small, like I just want this raise, that's it. Once you've got it, it's like, okay, and now? Like, why am I still here?
Yeah.
You've got to set something that you're going to work towards with those small steps, but something far enough that
Yeah.
you
And
constantly
once you're the
striving.
CEO, what is there after that?
Yeah.
Like, you've worked your way up to partner, and then what? Like, you sit there, and that was your goal since you were 18, is be like the partner of this company, right?
Yeah.
And you work for 25 years, and you're 45, you're halfway through your life, bro, and you're like, I've achieved the goal I was thinking 25 years about. Now what? And that's the problem with also working within a company, is that's the end. That's the end for you. Like, what do you do from there? You can't say I'm going to change the world because you're on 200 grand a month.
Yeah.
Your company after 25 years is earning millions.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't compare. But that's what puts you in this I'm empty inside space, is like the end goal. There's never an end goal for us. Like, that's what it should be like, is if you don't base it on money is easy to get. Like, I mean, we could be running this company and earning that money, but the goal for this company is a lot bigger. The roof is it's that next level. You know what I mean? There's no roof. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
then there's no end of emptiness. There never will be.
I think you always have to keep in mind as well quality of life. You know, it's always one thing chasing a goal, but if you don't have the pillars of your life set up in other areas, whether it's spirituality, relationships, stuff like that, I think that balance plays a big role in also keeping you going on whatever it is journey you're going on. You know, those
you got to
aspects.
say I'm working on all parts equally.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be equal.
For sure.
Otherwise, there's unbalance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Mark.
Yeah.
And that-
Equality equals
equality.
balance.
But that is the difficult thing, is finding balance, because you swing hard into different areas
Especially with the distractions of nowadays
Yeah.
as well.
without a doubt. I mean, you've got to be
What
committed.
distractions?
Well, no, I'm saying like
What you talking about?
we always reacting
What you
to
swinging
things
into?
as well. Like,
I'm
no, man,
joking.
I'm saying like your phone, for example, the notifications that are popping up on it. You're always having to react to that stuff instead of be proactive nowadays. You know, with all this stuff coming through. It's
Can I
so
tell you an
hard
easy
to-
trick to that?
Just turn your phone off.
Don't be famous. It's far easier if you don't have a blue check mark, eh?
Right. Yeah.
You're not getting those DMs from some guy trying to make your life that much better.
Yeah. I just get Nigerian princes wanting to use me for my money.
No, Mark gets offered some very lucrative deals through some of his.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, bro! The thing about photography page, I'm a woman because it's girls on there.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
wow.
And I get messages like, "Hey, honey, I'll be your sugar daddy."
I would take advantage, charge them for some foot pics.
It got a bit deep. I sent like
Charge
one
them.
reply. I was like, let's see, $5,000 a week. That sounds pretty good. So he tells me his whole life story, and I was like, Jesus, I got to do this. I showed Jace. Jace was like, milk it. And then he sent me this story. It was like the saddest. Mom died and shit, bro. He's running this metal company.
What?
Like, Jesus, I can't
can't
do
do
this.
this.
I quickly ended all of that, bro.
Because you're moving into this place, I was like, Mark, just send him a bill
Yeah.
for something and just send him like
$5,000.
an empty PayPal account and just be like, it has been tough this
Yeah,
month.
I
Like,
can't pay rent.
Yeah, me, this poor lonely girl living in a third world country. What am I to do? Like, I really need this cold plated chair outside. Just milk him for it. But I mean, it makes you wonder with like OnlyFans.
Wow,
You know?
what goes on in those DMs?
Dude, if
That's
you really
scary stuff.
if you
I
really
wouldn't like to read the
No,
DMs.
no.
if you really take care of your feet, I mean, you could
do
be
it.
a female foot model and
Oh,
they would
100%.
never know.
They'd never
100%.
know.
I mean, India's
Josh?
GDP would drop heavily, would drop like 90% India's GDP, but like, hey, you'd be balling.